Hello, my name is Terry Jenkins, and today we're going to continue with our Now You Can Read Bible Stories series. For those of you that don't know, this is a set of Bible stories written for children so that they can learn the different stories that come from the Bible. And it was one of my favorite series growing up, especially when I was in Alaska. And so I reached out to the company to see if I can get the license to make comic books off of them. Still haven't heard from them, but I'm doing this for free. I will like for, if possible, if people could stop by the Patreon and support the Patreon, and that will be the Terry Jenkins LLC Patreon, where I am creating Christian cartoons and comics. And, I feel like as a Christian, this is how I can best use my gifts. If you are not a Christian, I feel like you can still learn. Uh, you know, it's a lot of the Bible stories fit some of the themes from non-Christian stories. So, like your Bambies and all that kind of stuff. So in a way, that was a longer intro than what I wanted. But yeah, so today's story is the Sermon on the Mount. And let me see if I can fix the lighting just a little bit so it's not dimming down. Yeah, there we go. So the Sermon on the Mount, I gotta remember which side. Yeah, I'm not doing this on my phone this time. This story is retold by Leonard Matthews and illustrated by Clive Upton. And it was published by Rourke Publications. Please email me, Rourke, in 1984. Now you can read the Sermon on the Mount. Jesus often spoke to people about God. Speeches about God are known as sermons. Jesus began to give sermons when he was a boy. He was then working in the carpenter's shop, which belonged to Joseph. Joseph was the husband of Mary, who is the mother of Jesus. One day in Jerusalem, Jesus was missing. This page right here. Mary found in the great temple talking to many wise men. He was answering their questions. The wise men were all amazed. He was so smart. Why are you here? Asked Mary. She was angry. Quietly, Jesus told her that he was teaching the wise men about his father. By father, Jesus meant God. Jesus was the Son of God. When he grew up, Jesus loved to talk to all people, rich and poor. He also loved to talk to children. Once, some mothers brought their children to Jesus so that he might bless them. The disciples, the followers of Jesus, thought he was too busy to bother with them. They told the mothers to go away. Jesus said, No, let the children come to me. The kingdom of God belongs to them. Then he blessed the children. Once a rich young man came to speak to Jesus. He owned a big house. He had many men and women to wait on him. Even if he wanted a cup of water, someone would pour it for him. I've always lived by God's teaching, he said to Jesus, but I want to be really good. What should I do? Jesus knew he was very rich. Sell all you have, give your money to the poor, and follow me, said Jesus. The young man was very unhappy. Money means nothing to God. Jesus told him, it is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of the needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. The young man went home to think about what he should do. Another time, Jesus was at a feast in another rich man's house. Everybody knew about the rich man's feast. Today, many poor people have rushed to his house. They were all hoping that he would send out some food for them to eat. Jesus knew this. He spoke to the rich man. When you give a feast, he said, do not invite your friends. They will only invite you to their feast in return. Then whom should I invite? Asked the rich man. The poor, the sick, the lame, and the blind people, replied Jesus. Of course, they cannot invite you to a feast in return, but you will be blessed and remembered for your kindness. One day, Jesus was writing on a sandy floor with his finger. In those days, people did not have paper and pens, so sometimes they would scribble in the sand. Some priests brought a woman to him. She has broken the law, they said. She must be stoned. That is the proper punishment. Do you agree? Jesus looked up and replied, if there is one among you who has never broken the law, he should throw the first stone. The priest glared. Then, because they all had broken the law at some time, they went away. Where are the men who would have punished you? Jesus asked the woman. The priests have gone, the woman replied. Then you go too, Jesus said. I will not punish you, but be good in the future. At another time, Jesus was sitting with his disciples. After I die, I will return, he told them. You must always be ready for me when I come. Then Jesus told his disciples the story of the 10 bridesmaids. When Jesus lived, it was the job of the bridesmaids to bring the groom to the place where the wedding was to be. At this wedding, the groom was late. 5 of the 10 bridesmen had fallen asleep. It was night when the groom arrived. In those times, people used to light their homes with oil lamps. The 5 bridesmaids who had fallen asleep had not lighted their lamps. They were foolish. Now they could not see in the dark. The 5 wise bridesmaids had stayed awake. Their lamps were lit. The five wise bridesmaids were ready to take the groom to the wedding. Be like the five bridesmaids, said Jesus. Be ready for my return. On another day, Jesus gave a sermon about a man who, late one night, knocked on the door of a friend's house. Someone I know has just arrived, he cried out. I have no food for him. Please lend me 5 loaves. It was only after he had asked many times for the 5 loaves that his friend came down and handed him bread. Then Jesus looked at his listeners, knocked on God's door by praying to him. He said, in this way, he will hear you and help you. One day, many men and women were waiting to hear Jesus speak. Please talk to them, a disciple said to Jesus. Jesus was only too happy. The sermon Jesus gave that day is famous because it took place on a hillside. It is called the Sermon of the Mount, on the Mount. Blessed are the poor, Jesus began. The kingdom of heaven is theirs. Blessed are those who are sad. They shall be made happy. God blesses those who are gentle, those who wish to be good, and those who are merciful. Those who are pure in heart will understand God's words. Try always to keep the peace. God will then call you his children. Jesus ended with these words. Blessed are those who are punished simply for being right and for believing in me. As he finished speaking, Jesus took the hands of the children around him. How they loved him. All right, so all these appear in the pages of the story. Can you find them? So you guys can go back through the video, see if you can find them. Maybe in the future, I'll put in some timestamps so that it can be a little more interactive. But that is the Sermon on the Mount, published by, give me 1 second, Work Publications. The story was retold by Leonard Matthews, illustrated by Clive Upton. Thank you guys for taking the time to listen to this story. And again, please hit that bell so that you can be notified of when I put up a new video of a new story. Subscribe to the channel. This is all about uplifting, not just Christians, but people, because the matter of the heart is the heart of the matter. And we all have to come together as Christians, Jews, Muslims, black, white, police, not police. Like, I'm not one of those people that believes that the end of time, that, well, first of all, I think the end of times is always coming to the adults. That's just fact of life. The moment we're born, the end of our time is only a few decades away. So I feel like by doing my part in reading these stories and then trying to create fiction and stories that are kind of like the Marvel movies, but with a lesson. Not that there isn't lessons in Marvel movies, but I think they're a little harder for children to see or for young adults to see. And my goal is to spread positive messages despite the evils of the world, as you see in my young adult series. But this is geared towards for my younger audiences. And I'm just trying to do my part with my reading and my writing. So again, please hit the bell to be notified of new videos. Subscribe to the channel, give me a like. As you know from other YouTubers, that helps the channel grow, helps us with the algorithm. And I will see you guys next week for another Now You Can Read Bible Stories.